Claire, do you have any idea where Brian and the students from Germany are?
Yeah, I'm not sure about students from Germany because Cornelia told that it's like too difficult. They didn't join the chat yet for ACI 3. So I didn't see them in the chat of the course. So I just wrote in the chat of the previous course, and maybe we'll write them direct messages as a reminder of the ACI 3 launch.
Please do so.
Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome. Well, not quite ready to go yet. Okay. So, Claire, you have an announcement to make before we get started. Why don't you go ahead?
Yes, thank you so much. Dear students, thank you so much for joining the classes of ACI 3. I would like to announce that we have an amazing opportunity for you to serve the teacher, Venerable Sumati, by supporting the production of the courses. So if you want to plant amazing seeds for studying wisdom and to fulfill your goals, it's amazing opportunity to support the teacher and to give your help assistance in production of the courses. It could be recordings of the classes in different languages. It could be translation. It could be Telegram chats administration or any other options which can be most suitable for you. So in case you're interested in, please write me or Francisca, and we will be glad to help you in this. Thank you.
Oh, there's Mike. Hi, Mike. It's been a long time. Okay. So, welcome to ACI course number 3. It's meditation. And just a few quick housekeeping things. The course the first couple of classes in this course are quite short. And instead of putting them together, I've kept them as separate courses. So, separate classes. So, that's one thing. The other is I encourage you to ask questions, but ask the questions at the end of class. So save your questions for the end of class, and then we'll talk as long as we need to. Okay. So this is the third course. The first course was the 3 principal paths, and we covered renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct view. The second course was refuge and the wish, definitions of concepts of refuge, emptiness, dependent origination, bodhicitta, and enlightenment. Now, course 3 gets a little more practical. It focuses on the actual practice for meditation, how to get started, and within our lineage. So you may hear of other ways of doing this, but this is the lineage with Geshe Michael. It doesn't mean anybody else is wrong. It just means this is how we approach meditation. Now, meditation is, I think Geshe talks about 2 things very, very often in his courses: service, serving others, and meditation. And meditation is in a way, it's the vehicle that's carrying us along our path to enlightenment. So you need to understand it, how to use it, so that you can progress along your path. So we talk about the path of toward enlightenment. For the students that have took courses 1 and 2, Can anybody give me the 5 paths we talk about? No? Oh, wait a minute. I forgot very important thing. My mistake. We need to do the mandala and refuge. So, Mike, you ready to do the mandala for me?
Thanks. Swashi Pukhi Jukshin Mitak Drum Rirabling Shi Nyande Gan Padi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uwargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Drupar Shok Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami.
Now, I have a slightly different refuge prayer that I like to use at the beginning. This is something Geshe-la told us about in Course 6, the Diamond Cutter Sutra. So I'm just going to recite it, and I'll send a copy of it in English along with some other material at the end of class. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyful effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, I will attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. One other thing I didn't mention at the beginning, I have Parkinson's, so I have a tremor. So you may see me shaking a little. It's not your camera, it's me. Okay, so back to the question. What are the 5 paths? Volga?
Accumulation, preparation, vision, habituation, and not more learning.
Very good, very good. So in order to make progress along the path, you need to be able to meditate well. And that's the whole point of this course, is to enthuse you to meditate and to show you a way to get to the point where you're meditating for an hour every day. So it seems like an onerous task, but it's essential. Without it, you're not going to make the progress that you want to make. The reading for this class is taken from the Lamrim Chenmo, which was written by Tsongkhapa, whose dates are 1357 to 1419. He was a Kagyu who studied with many great teachers. He held the Nyingma lineage, and he founded the lineage that we belong to, the Gelugpa lineage. His writings are throughout the ACI courses. He wrote 10,000 pages of text and commentaries, and they are the basis of years of study in Tibetan monasteries. Within the Lamrim Chenmo is a very famous prayer called the King of All Prayers. It's found in both the Kangyur and the Tengyur. The Kangyur, which is what Lord Buddha spoke, and the commentaries are Tengyur. This prayer is the basis for all later presentations on how to prepare for meditation. So the prayer is not actually instructions on how to meditate. It's on how to prepare for it. So you might wonder, why do we have to prepare for meditating? Just as an athlete warms up properly before an event, or a great musician warms up before a performance, we must learn to get our minds ready for a meditation session if we want it to be at all useful. So, there are 5 major parts to a meditation practice. You probably thought that it was just sit down, get comfortable, close your eyes and think. But it's much more, I don't want to say complicated, it's much more thorough than that. So there are 5 major parts. Preparing to meditate, we learn the 6 preliminaries and the 7 ingredients. The 6 conditions for the environment, making your environment conducive to meditation. Number 3, preparing your bodily posture. There's the 8-point posture of Virochana. It's also from the Lamrim Chenmo, but this comes from a commentary on Master Karmala Shila's teachings in the 9th century. Master Karmala Shila was an Indian master who was invited to Tibet by the king of Tibet to instruct him and the country on how to meditate. At the same time, there was a Chinese master, Master Washang, who was teaching that meditation consisted of emptying your mind and thinking nothing at all. Master Karmala Shila started to teach, and he taught just the opposite. He taught that meditation was a tool for focusing the mind strongly on a meaningful object. So back in those days, they didn't have Zoom or the internet, obviously. So what happened if there were 2 conflicting theories on how to do something? The king would invite 2 masters to debate. And the winner of the debate would remain in the country and his method would be used, while the loser and his methods were banished. Master Karmala Shila won, and that was the basis for the meditation practice that we were going to teach you about. So the 4th part of preparing to meditate is mental process of meditation. That has 3 parts. This list is complicated, but don't worry, we go through it in great detail. So the mental process of meditation, experience shows there are 5 problems and 5 common mental states that arise when you try to meditate. Luckily, there are 8 corrections to these 5 problems. And then there's also the consideration of where you are with your concentration. So there are 9 mental stages or levels of meditation. So meditation is not something you do occasionally. You need to meditate routinely, daily, if you're going to progress. So Geshe-la wants us to meditate for at least an hour. If you start meditating today, well, tomorrow, let's say, for 5 minutes, then each week you add another minute. By the end of a year, you'll be at 57 minutes, which is essentially the hour. Don't try and sit. Well, I would highly recommend not trying to sit down and try and meditate for an hour tomorrow. You're not going to be able to do it. You'll get discouraged. But if you take a small bit, like 5 minutes, that works out pretty well. And then add a minute each week. With my Parkinson's, it has been difficult for me to meditate because of the distraction of my tremor. But I've started a new medication, and it seems that that's helping very much. I'm hoping it continues to. Your progression along the path your progression along the 5 paths of realization takes place while in deep meditation. So you really do need to learn how to meditate. Our goal is to have the direct perception of emptiness, and that only comes about with a good meditation practice. Then the 5th one is the object of meditation. Meditation is a tool that needs an object. There are many types of meditation and meditation objects. So I repeat, just the list. Number 1, preparing to meditate. Number 2, 6 conditions of the environment. Number 3, preparing your bodily posture. Number 4, mental process of meditation. And number 5, the object of meditation. There are many traditions of meditation and many different names for meditation. So it's easy to get them mixed up in the literature. I'm going to list another 5 general types. And then we'll discuss them as I listen. So the first one is Gompa. Bring an object to mind repeatedly until you get used to it. That's also could be called a review meditation, but we'll talk about that in a bit. When something happens that is unpleasant, or even if it's pleasant, we repeatedly think of it and we can't get it out of our mind. So we turn this habit to a useful task. In a Gompa style meditation, we burn some virtuous object or habit and bring our focus back onto it repeatedly until the object is so familiar it gets fixed in your mind. This would be a review meditation. If you memorized a particular meditation like the source of all my good or the 3 principal paths, then this would be where you memorize it and you go through it mentally. Samten is the second one. Samten is also the word used for 4 levels of deep meditation in the form realm. We talk about the form realm. There are 3 realms that we generally talk about. Can someone give me the 3 realms?
Desire realm, form, and formless.
Right. Can you give me a little more detail on the desire realm?
That would be the realm of the humans.
Right.
Because we are constantly wanting to be happy and thinking that things or people will make us happy. So we are seeking desire, seeking pleasure.
Right. The usual definition of the desire realm is all we're focusing on is food and sex. So I guess I'd have to focus more on food than sex at this point in my life. But so we have desires, strong desires for physical things. How about the form realm? I don't see any of you. There we go. Okay, what's the definition of the form realm? Anybody? Form realm is the highest form the highest form of physical body. Everything's beautiful. There's high pleasure. There are no problems. It's all very blissful. You spend a lot of time in them. You use up all your good karma, and you're not generating new good karma. So eventually you end up in a lower realm. So our goal is not to get to the form realm. We need to get to the form realm, the first level of concentration in the form realm, which is samten. But that's how to have the direct perception of emptiness, we need to reach that level in our meditation. And we'll be discussing that in much greater detail. Then the formless realm is a mental realm where you're simply a mental entity. I don't really understand the formless realm very well. You have no awareness of your body because you don't have one. Okay. So that's samten. Then number 3 is causal meditation. Called this because it causes rebirth. If you're in a samten deep meditation, if you reach that level, if you're in a form meditation like samten, you can be reborn in the form realm, which again is not our goal, and we'll discuss that in greater detail. You could also be reborn in the formless realm, but that's not a goal either. And the third type of meditation under causal meditation is cessation meditation, where you train yourself to shut your mind down. But when you come out of it, you're still here in desire realm, and you're not really ceasing. Your goal in a cessation meditation is to try and focus your mind on not overreacting to good or bad things. But when you come out of the meditation, you're still in the desire realm. And so you really haven't ceased anything at all. The fourth one is called samadhi. This is what our goal. Our goal in this class is to describe to you how you reach samadhi. This is single-pointed meditation. It's the ability to focus very clearly and forcefully, powerfully on the object of meditation. Number 5 is shine or shamatha. This is the highest evolution of meditation because you're taking your samadhi, your ability to focus strongly, powerfully on an object, and you're using that to see emptiness directly. Now you probably think to yourself, could be thinking to yourself, well, how can I possibly be thinking that strongly, that focused on anything? It happens all the time. Ken Rinpoche, Geshe Michael's teacher, Lama, Heart Lama, used to use the example of baseball players and the focus they have. I played basketball in college, and I tried to play softball or fast pitch baseball, and I couldn't hit a ball for the life of me. I couldn't focus on the ball coming in. And so I wasn't much of a baseball player. But when you think of someone sends a pitch 100 miles an hour toward a batter in American baseball, how someone can connect and hit that ball out of the park. Soccer, how I've seen goals, players get a goal from halfway mark on the field. How someone has the ability to concentrate and do that, I don't know, but that's the example. Those are the examples of concentration. It is possible. For me, I collect movie soundtracks, and instrumental for the most part. And I can get lost in that music and spend an hour playing beautiful music and not even know the time's gone by. So my wife actually thinks that happens to me when I'm writing my books. I get so engrossed in the research that she comes and asks if we're going to have dinner. I'm the cook in the family, and I'm supposed to have dinner ready for her by 5 o'clock. And sometimes I forget, which isn't a good thing, but she forgives me usually. So we need to train our samadhi to work on a virtuous object. And number 6 is Jetop Yeshe. This is the meditation in which you have the direct perception of emptiness, followed by the realization of the 4 Arya truths. So there's another, a little bit simpler way of looking at these types of meditation. The first one in Tibetan is called Jokgom. That's where you put your mind on an object. That's what we usually think of meditation to be. Shargom is a review meditation, and Chegom is analytical meditation. So for those of you that took course 1 and the 3 principal paths, a Shargom would be to review each of the verses, and as you try to memorize it, a Chegom would be to look at each of the verses and try and figure out what they're trying to say. This is where Geshe-la's use of the pictures of, like the, what does he call it? Oh, I'm spacing on the word now. It's a type of meditation where you use descriptions of rooms. So for instance, in the Source of All My Good, there's a mirror room that talks about all the vows you have. And instead of just saying you're in a room with the vows, he talks about a mirror room reflecting your actions, making you aware of everything you do is causing karma to be made at 65 finger snaps per second. And so Jokgum would be, I'm going to review the 3 principal paths. Shargum would be, I'm going to look at each of the verses in the correct order. And Chegom would be, what is individual verse trying to tell me? So how do we get to where we're even concerned about these types of meditations? We need to start with the preliminaries. So first you clean and tidy the room, keeping in mind what we know about karma and emptiness. What we see ourselves doing to and for others is what grows and comes back to us. The room where you meditate should be nice and clean and organized, as if someone important was coming to see your altar room. Now, that's an interesting point. If you're fortunate to have a space in your house that's out of the main walkway, it's like a separate room, that's the best place to set up your altar. Your altar shouldn't be where you put your keys when you come in after work. The altar should be a special place and regarded as a sacred space. We were fortunate at Diamond Mountain when we designed our house there. We put in a gompa, and that's all. The only thing that happened in that gompa when we lived in that house was meditation. So you clean and tidy the room. Then you set up your altar and make offerings. Then you take refuge in the wish for enlightenment. Go for refuge and generate bodhicitta. And you visualize the lamas of the two great lineages. Number 5, you purify the 7 limbs, 7 ingredients. And 6, you request blessings. Now, this all sounds very complicated. And it is, in a sense. We're going to go through each of these things and talk about in greater detail. So, how do I want to do this? There's a simple, a short form of this, what we've just gone through. And I will share that with you via text after class. So, as I said, these classes are fairly short to begin with. So that's all I have now. Let's go back and just do a short list of the preliminaries. So preliminary 1, clean and tidy up the room. Preliminary 2, set up your offerings. Number 3, go for refuge and generate bodhicitta. Number 4, visualize the lamas. Number 5, do the purification, 7 limbs, 7 ingredients. And 6, requesting blessings. So each one of those we go into greater detail, and we'll do that on Tuesday. So if you have any questions, please ask.
I have one question. How make offering right?
We're going to go over, I made a little video for setting up the offering bowls. So you get to see this person with Parkinson's try and fill water bowls. It's quite challenging, but no, there's all kinds of detail on how to make offerings, and we're going to go into that in great detail. It's for a 3-year retreat. My wife and I, for those of you that don't know, my wife and I participated in the 3-year retreat at Diamond Mountain. And every morning we do our water bowls. And it's really a beautiful way to set yourself ready for meditation. But there's a very important thing to remember. Setting up the altar is very important, but don't use if you have 15 minutes to meditate when you start your practice, don't use 14 of those minutes setting up your altar. That doesn't count. And the preliminaries shouldn't take very long. In fact, let me see if I can remember them now. I have this short form, and I'll send this to you after class. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. I make offerings both set out and imagined. I confess my wrong deeds from all time and rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases and turn the wheel of Dharma for us. I dedicate all virtues to the great enlightenment. What I just read, what I just said, I spend about 2 minutes on each one. Well, not even that. I spend about a minute on each one, and that gets me through the preliminaries and on to my meditation. So it's really, if you have the opportunity, you have the space in your house or apartment, set aside a space that's, you don't put stuff, you don't throw jackets or shoes or put your suitcase or briefcase or backpack down. It's a sacred space that you reserve for just doing your practice. And that brings up one last thing I want to mention. We often hear people talk about they did their practice in the morning. Your practice is 24/7. You might have done your meditation practice in the morning, but you're practicing your Buddhist philosophy 24/7. So don't tell me you did your morning practice. You can tell me you did your meditation practice, and I'll be very happy about that. But it really just makes me laugh when people think they've done their practice in the morning. That just makes me laugh. So, any further questions? Oh, you're welcome, Cornelius. Good to see you. So, translator, was I speaking too quickly? No? Good. Did you get the text that I sent? Yeah, okay. I'll try and do that for each class. Okay. We need to dedicate the goodness of what we've just done. So let's do that. By the goodness of what I've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. Of all the courses that we teach, the meditation course and the logic course are perhaps the two most important as tools to reach your goal on the path. Everything else has got lots of information and rules and lists. Bodhisattva, way of a bodhisattva is very important, but the main tool for making progress on the path is meditation. And I'm just really thrilled that this new medication is allowing me to get back into a meditation practice, which I had been unable to do for many years. So it coincided very nicely with teaching this course. So I'm quite pleased with that. Well, if I've overwhelmed you with too much information, I apologize, but I'll send the lists. I'll set that up and send it shortly, and Claire can distribute it to everybody. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to teach this. I know what I want to do. If anybody wants to stick around, let's do some rejoicing. I like to do that at the beginning of class, and I was a little worried about doing that because we have so many students. But if you're interested, stick around and we'll do some rejoicing. So I'm going to rejoice in having a wonderful group of students to teach. I'm going to rejoice in the medication. I've helped others be healthy in the past, so I now have the opportunity to have this medication work. And if I continue to support the health of other people and help them get well, then I should be able to continue to have this medication work. Okay, Claire, what do you have to rejoice in?
Yeah, I would like to rejoice these opportunities to serve others, to get the teachings. And also I would like to rejoice that I have an opportunity to help my my father in his interests and make some good moments in life for my friends and for some close people.
Okay, good. And you're setting the seeds, as we need to remember, one of my favorite sayings is the past is the present and the present is the future. So we can't do much about the past, but we can not react to the bad parts of the past that are ripening in our present. And that's what's going to make our future pleasant. So when you do something good, dedicate it. And when you do something that you realize was a mistake, do the 4 powers of purification and try very hard not to do it again. So, Olga, what do you have to rejoice in?
Hello, I have to rejoice that meditation has been the hardest part for me. I have been studying for 7 years, but it's been very hard. But now I feel that there is a space in my heart, in my mind, and in my life to learn and to meditate more. And I dedicate this to serve others.
Now I
Thank
just
you.
have to worry about how to keep the dogs quiet.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
No, I think it's very important when we rejoice to not just think, well, it's nice that something happened. It's to rejoice with wisdom. So when I rejoice in the medication working for me now, instead of saying I'm happy it's working, I say I rejoice in it's working because in the past I helped someone with their needs, and by doing that, I made that karma ripen for me as my medication working. If I wanted to continue doing that, I need to continue to help with wisdom. So not just helping somebody else, but helping knowing that that's how I may set the seeds for my future. Daria, what do you have to rejoice about?
I'm rejoiced to help you, dear teachers. It's big seeds, and you study me how rejoice because I can't. I always criticize me, myself, and other people. It's for me it's difficult, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you could do a lot of things for people. You help." I say, "Oh, why? Yeah, I'm do." Huh?
Well, I appreciate your help in doing the recording and being able to help other students learn the material. So thank you. Ale, what do you have to rejoice in besides jam?
I was about to rejoice that I was able to take some days off in the end of the year to be with my family. And it was so wonderful to see my son enjoying the snow and meeting Santa Claus for the first time. His face was priceless. He thinks he's his best friend. And yeah. And I think those days made me realize how important it is to have a balance of serving and practicing and enjoying what we planted by serving others. So thank you so much, Venerable Sumati, for giving me the opportunity to serve you and ACI so I can have a wonderful family life. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I think Ali brings up a very good point that often students that have families and can't really focus on a meditation practice the way those of us without children, but your practice is your family. So Olga, you have barking dogs. They're part of your family, and in their practice, you can either, when they bark, get mad at them, or you can try and figure out a way, see that as a message, and work with it. So families are not a hindrance. And in fact, I often think having a family is some of the highest practice any of us can do. So, Mike, how about you? What do you have to rejoice about?
I've been practicing for just under a year, and when I first got into this, people were talking about how when you start practicing these things, that your environment just starts to change around you, and you don't really have to do much. And I thought that sounded kind of crazy. So for the past 3 years, I've been living in this space, and my landlord has been a nightmare and hasn't fixed anything, and just all these things wrong, and just he yells at people, and he's really, an unpleasant person. So I started practicing Buddhism, and I'm doing these classes, and I'm doing the meditations in this space. And don't you know, a couple months later, the house goes on the market, and uh, a new landlord just purchased it, and she's fixing all the problems. They're putting in a new boiler today. They're fixing the drafts. They're fixing the leaks. And so I'm just kind of seeing, an example of that, like a real life example of that kind of happening around me. So I'm rejoicing in that, and that now when I run into problems or issues with the new landlord, I'm trying to notice and observe my mental reactions to them, and like catch my frustration and catch my anger before it goes off. And then that will set my seeds for the future experience of landlords in my life.
Excellent. That's exactly what we're looking at. And it's often people think you do something positive, and we teach that karma can ripen immediately. Well, that's rare. And the next life or future life. And don't kid yourself. You do a good deed to a powerful karmic object, and you don't know who they are necessarily. I mean, your parents are powerful karmic objects, your husband or wife, your kids are powerful karmic objects, your teachers are powerful karmic objects. But what about that person that held the door for you when you had your arms full coming out of a grocery store? You don't know if they're a powerful karmic object or not. So it's important to be practicing 24/7 and treating everybody as if they're powerful karmic objects. And if it's a negative thing, that's, how can I put this? We tend to use only the negative as powerful karmic objects. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. But the positive are powerful also. So you don't want to get, karma is what? It's defined as movement of the mind and what our reactions are with body and speech to implement it. So for instance, I haven't gotten mad at a person, an individual, for years. And I was talking to my lovely wife about that. And she said, you get mad at yourself all the time. So movement of the mind, I'm thinking I'm mad, I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated by my tremor, by the fact that I can't grab anything with my left hand anymore. And so I get mad. I'm mad at myself. I'm setting the seeds to be mad at myself in the future. So I've got to catch that and stop it. So movement of the mind. It's a good thing I don't throw objects or get mad in that sense, but I'm still getting mad. I'm still moving my mind with madness. So catch yourself all the time. And I think you'll find, like Mike has found, your environment will improve. Marcella, do you have anything you can rejoice about?
Hello. Yes, thanks for the lesson. So I'm very happy I have the chance to be here. I just met all the teachings last October, and I was finding it hard to stay close, but I'm very happy I just knew about this course this early morning and I was able to sign up and be here. And thank you for that. And
Good.
I rejoice in having the chance to be helping a couple of people that work in Diamond Mountain. After volunteering, we stayed in touch, so I'm still serving there. So I'm happy to be able to do that from the distance. And I think I can also rejoice in these have been difficult times in terms of communication in close relationships, but I've been able to at least control my speech and have a kind speech to communicate feelings and emotions and trying to solve misunderstandings. So I rejoice in that. I'm
Good. I think one of my favorite phrases came out of a movie with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. It's one of the ocean films. And he says, just because you're wrong just because I'm wrong doesn't mean, well, now I'm confusing myself. Just because you're right doesn't mean I'm wrong. You think about it. You don't have to win an argument. When you have a situation, you're communicating with someone, express your opinion and leave it at that. How many times have you been in an argument where the person at the other end of the argument goes, oh, Sumati, you're right. I changed my mind completely. I don't think that's ever happened to me. It certainly doesn't happen with my wife. Now, when she argues with me, then it happens because I go, yes, dear, you're absolutely right. That's the secret to 45 years of marriage. The other thing I think, Marcella, that helps with what you're talking about is listen the way you want to be heard. So if you're having a problem with communication, put yourself in the other person's shoes and see if what you're saying is what you would like someone to say to you. And when I do that, it changes my approach completely. Okay, Katerina, what do you have to rejoice in?
I'm glad to see you. I can help me.
I can barely hear you.
Oh. Arete, can you help me with translation?
I will translate into English. I am very happy that our classes continue. Also, I rejoice that we have holidays, time that we spend with family. We communicate a lot. My mother will get parcel tomorrow from the whole family, a gift. And we got a kitten recently. And I was worried how it will work out. Whether will he disturb my meditation? But I thought that he will become like an angel, that kitten, and will open my heart to Bodhicitta. And it works well for me. He is not bothering me. I cannot be heard. Is the place for meditation can be a workplace at the table?
Oh boy.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Question about meditation.
Mm-hmm.
The workplace at a table.
Uh-huh. So you hear me. Very good. Because I was worried that you cannot hear me. Thank you.
I hear you.
Go, cool.
Workplace at a table. I didn't hear the whole story. If you could just briefly repeat it.
The story was about Rejoice.
Yes.
She rejoiced. Her question right now is she can meditate only at the work table, near the table. That's the only place. Is it possible to meditate there?
Oh, sure. You can meditate anywhere. Once you learn what we're going to teach you in this course, you could meditate on the subway. once you're really good at it. So find one of the keys to meditation I found is do it the same time every day. For me, it means getting up, taking my medicine, sitting down and doing my meditation, not saying, oh, I'll do it later this afternoon. I'll do it today. I'll do it before I go to bed. Set up a time and make that time really an important time. Don't say, oh, I'll do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. It should be every day. If your schedule is such that you need to say, I'll do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's a start, but I highly recommend finding a time and doing it the same time every day. Doing it before you go to bed is great if you don't fall asleep. And one of my struggles with meditation now is I have several medications that make me drowsy. And so I have to fight the medication effect of making me fall asleep. But I rejoice in the fact that my new medication looks like it's helping with that. Okay. Who's next? Maria?
It's Maria. Hi.
Hi.
I rejoice in creating the teachers that surround me today and the teachings. And I hope that I can put them in practice so that I always be connected to the teachings and improve myself to the point where I can help all living beings.
Excellent. Exactly the attitude, the approach we're looking for in a student and a meditator. Excellent. Okay. Is that Tatiana? I don't read Cyrillic.
I will translate into English. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I rejoice. I was missing this month's our meetings. I realize only now how I missed for these classes. I'm grateful, Lama Sumati, for the capability to study third course with you. I am doing it second time already, this course. Meditation for me is very complicated thing. I rejoice that my mother that is alive for 4 years, thanks to my seeds. I see her pretty active state of mind. And today, my mom walked. We walked for a long time, for a while with her, for business, so to speak. We were breathing fresh air. And as Dasha said, we don't notice our good deeds. I also have such a problem, and I'm grateful that you teach us to rejoice.
My pleasure. Rejoicing is, I think that's a really important part of the practice. Francisco, what do you have to rejoice in other than I didn't screw up in the presentation?
Thank you so much. When I start hearing the teachings, I start in Lamrim 37. And I was very sad because I missed like the first 36. And now I want to rejoice that we will start Lamrim again. And that's much rejoicing for me.
Well, I'm really looking forward to those classes. I think it's going to be, it's a wonderful chance for me to review And interestingly enough, the first one I was at, the next, I don't know, 10, I was in 3-year retreat. So I'm going to hear stories from Geshe-la that I never heard before. Or actually, knowing Geshe-la, I probably have heard them. But thank you for all you do to make this, the use of Zoom, so straightforward. Really impressed. Okay, I have Alla, Anna, and Evgeny left. Alla, do you want to rejoice? Well, maybe she's just doing the recording. Okay, I think we covered everybody. I will say that some days my medication has more effect on me than others. So just bear with me, and we'll do our best to keep the course on track. Do your homeworks. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. For those of you that have not taken ACI courses before, I and my wife have found that if you do the homework, do the reading today, tonight, do the homework tomorrow, do the quiz in the evening of tomorrow or the next day, don't put it off and have a bunch to do at the end of the course. Do them every day. Do them every class. That's really important. Okay. Good to see everybody. We'll see you next, what's today? Today's Thursday. We'll see you Monday, and I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
you.
It was an honor to translate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that I'm not the easiest person to translate, so.
No, I enjoyed.
Anna is
Okay.
here. Maybe she wants to rejoice.
Oh, Anna, do you have something to rejoice about? Maybe not.
Well, maybe I need to switch to English channel. Can you hear me in English?
Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
Oh, thank you. About my rejoicing, I rejoice of my help to different people according my work and according ACI. Also about my practices, because sometimes it's really difficult for me to do my meditations, to read some readings, but I try to find some time and put efforts to practice and to study. Thank you for very nice, exciting class.
Oh, you're welcome. And one thing that made our practice so easy was both my wife and I were intrigued with Buddhism, and we both jumped in. And so it's not like one of us is Buddhist and the other's atheist. So it really helps if you have a partner that's interested. But we have many friends whose partners, whose husband or wives are not interested at all, and they still succeed very, very well. So as I was saying, Anna, before, even if it's just for 10 minutes now, try and find the same time during the day. Now, for instance, for me, twice a week, I need to get up at 4 in the morning to teach students in Malaysia at 5 in the morning. So I can't get up and do my meditation before that. That's just not going to happen. But what I've got to do, I've got to think about doing that, because otherwise I will have been into the day by teaching. I will have been into the day and my mind will already be thinking about what's going on for the day. And it's going to make meditation more difficult. But maybe that's a challenge I need to embrace. So try hard to make it the same time each day. And maybe that means at night before you go to bed. Well, obviously before you go to bed. If you're in bed, you can't meditate. Well, and when you're in bed, you do the sleeping meditation. So, okay. Claire, I'll send you some stuff in just a few minutes, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye. Love you all.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.